Hello and welcome to Hebrew Bible Verse a Day. We're now on the second chapter of Bereishit, of Genesis, and we are on verse 9. Once again, the numerical value of tet is 9, which is why it has the tet here. Every letter in the Hebrew alphabet has a value, and tet is 9. Yud, which is the letter afterwards, is 10. And then kaf, which is the letter afterwards, is 20. And it goes 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. And then we get Kuf, which is 100, Reish is 200, Shin is 300, and then Taf is 400. So with a year, for example, at the moment it's we're in the 5700s, and we actually miss out the 5000, but we have Taf Shin, which is 400 and 300. Anyway, without further ado, let's read the Hebrew quite fast. We'll read the English quite fast as well. Vayatzmach Adonai Elohim min ha'adamah, kol etz nechmad l'mar'eh, v'tov l'ma'achal, ve'etz ha'chayim, b'toch hagan, ve'etz hada'at tov v'ra. So a very, very famous verse. And out of the ground made the Lord God to grow every tree that is pleasant to the sight, and good for food, the tree of life also in the midst of the garden, and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. So we're coming up against good and evil. Not really going to say much about good and evil, because it means different things to different religions, and we're trying to be as a-religious as possible while reading the Bible, which seems quite ironic, but there we go. Okay, so let's go through the Hebrew. Vayatzmach, tzemach is plant, and he planted, but we're talking about the Lord God, so the Lord God planted. These two are different names for God. Min ha'adamah, from the ground. Kol, every. Etz is tree. Nechmad l'mar'eh, that is nice to look at, that is pretty to look at, or pleasant to look at. V'tov l'ma'achal, and also good. Tov, yeled tov is good boy, and also good l'ma'achal. Ochel is eat. So he's planting every tree that is good to look at. So every tree that he's planting is good to look at, and also good to eat as well. So it's not clear here whether all trees should be both good to look at and also good to eat, or whether trees can be just good to look at and not good to eat, or just good to eat and not good to look at. It seems to be that they should be both good to look at and also to eat. Ve'etz ha'chayim, and the tree of life. Etz is tree, as we know. Chayim is life. Etz chayim, interestingly enough, is another word for the Torah, another word for the Bible. So I'm not sure which comes from which, but I'm sure that someone's looked and given an interpretation of Etz Chaim as in, the Torah was created at this point. B'toch Hagan. B'toch is inside. Hagan, we've had before. Gan is garden. Ve'etz is tree, and the tree. Hada'at tov v'ra, to know, or the knowledge of good and bad. Ra is bad, Yeled Ra is bad boy, or as we usually translate it, in terms of the knowledge of good and evil. But it can just be good and bad. It's interesting to think that if there was more of a opposite of evil, then that probably should be used if we're looking at translating Ra as evil. So it could be the knowledge of righteousness and evil, which righteousness is pretty much the opposite of evil. Okay, let's go through the Hebrew a bit slower. Let's read through it together. This is verse 9. So we've got the a. One line across is an a. A T across is also an a. It's a vowel that goes with the letter. So we've got a, 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 a. This looks like an a, but we'll go over that in a second. Got an a, 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 a. Well, it looks like an a, 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 a. So it's used quite a lot. And I hope you get the point of what I was making, that all of the the line underneath and the T underneath are sounds. Now you'll never forget that, hopefully. So we've got a vav. Because there's no dot above it or inside it, it's a v sound, so it's va. We've got a yud, the smallest letter. It's a y sound. With the a, it's ya. We've got a tzadi. It's like a T and a Z or a T and an S. I think it sounds a bit like it's a symbol. So ts sound and two dots vertical is an sound. Got the a again on a mem, like a M for mummy, and a chet at the end. And it's kind of a silent chet here because there's no vowels in it at all, so it goes with the mem. So we've got va, ya, tzemach. Va, ya, tzemach. Vayatzemach. This is Adonai Elohim. Mem, like the mama from Vayitzemach, with a one dot. One dot underneath is an I, like hit. So mem with an I is mi. Got a nun sofit. Got the straightest letter of the alphabet. It's actually a nun, but as it's at the end of the word, it's a final nun, a nun sofit. It's a n sound, like nothing. So mi and n is min. Min. So the nun doesn't really have a vowel to it. Then we've got a here, because we've got a T, a line, a T, and a T. This is a hey, a h sound, but it's ha. You can ignore the two dots here. We've got an aleph, the first letter of the alphabet, like aleph bet. So it's a. This is a dalet, a bit like a reversed R sound, but with a top right here is slightly different. If you can compare the a resh to the dalet, you'll see they're slightly different, and I'm desperately looking for one. Here's a resh. Can you see it's more curved at the top as opposed to the dalet, which isn't as curved. So it's da, and then we've got a mem again, like mummy is ma, and it's a silent hey. So ha, a, da, ma. Vayatzemach Adonai Elohim min ha'adama. We'll just go to the next word as well, because I did point it out. It looks like it's an a on a kaf, a c. If it didn't have a dot, it would be a ch, but because it has a dot in, it's a k, and it looks like a reversed c as well. So we've got the a again, so it looks like it's ka with a lamed, the biggest letter, an l sound, so it should be kal, but in fact we pronounce it in modern Hebrew as kol. So it would be kol etz nechamad lemar'eh. Hope you've enjoyed this lesson. Just one mission today. If you haven't already, please do subscribe to this channel. Somewhere on this page it should be fairly easy to know how to subscribe. If you can't see how to subscribe, then please let me know, and I'll make it very clear in the next video. So once again, thank you very much for joining me. Thank you very much for joining us. You can also receive notice of further videos at Hebrew Bible Verse a Day. Shalom, Leitraot from Yerushalayim. Goodbye.